Hey, everybody, I'm Chris Cuomo, and tonight will absolutely affect the presidential race. No question about it. So what do you say? Let's get after it. You're going to keep hearing this is an unprecedented debate. Why? Well, first time you got a president debating a former president, and this debate is just earlier. It's really about 3 months earlier than most first debates traditionally are. Why? Because we rarely know who the two candidates are going to be this far out, so far before even the conventions. That said, some on the left will try to sell you the proposition that President Biden is going to be replaced after tonight or won't make it to Election Day. Here's the good news. Tonight, the hype ends. It all ends tonight. You will see whether Biden can perform or whether he's basically brain dead, as Team Trump would have you believe. Tonight, you will see for yourself. So, while it is more about President Biden on one level, it's also going to be a big boost or blow to the former president, depending on how all the hype about Biden turns out. Here's the best part. Again, you get to judge. No more pundits kind of telling you what you didn't see, no more anonymous sources, no more manipulated moments. The two men will be next to each other, and you be the judge. So let's tee it up here by getting you a nice sampling of all the stakeholders in the outcome tonight. Right, left, and reasonable. We'll start off with Team Biden, a big player in the present and future of the Democratic Party, Representative Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. Congressman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And I know you would tell me, so let me start out with the obvious. Have you heard anything that the Democratic Party is using tonight as a point of assessment for President Biden and whether he will be your nominee?
I'm hearing all signs that he's going to be our nominee. He's going to have a heck of a night. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you believe that the opposition has set the bar too low for the president, or do you believe that people are watching tonight with a legitimate concern about his level of performance?
I think that, look, on the one hand, Donald Trump has set expectations for Joe Biden's performance extremely low, just based on the way he characterizes Joe Biden. On the other hand, I do think people have concerns about the president's age, as they do about Trump's age. And I think, as you mentioned before, they're going to get to decide for themselves exactly, how energetic, how pointed, how cogent each of them are. And that's the beauty of the debate.
What are you hearing about where Biden's head and heart are coming into tonight?
I think he's prepped and ready to go, Chris. He's done this before. As you know, he takes these prep sessions very seriously. I expect that they probably had a stand-in for Donald Trump who mimicked Donald Trump's mannerisms. And so I hope and expect that Biden will be prepared for it.
I think the tough question is the now versus then. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? What do you want to hear President Biden say?
I think the president needs to meet people where they are, Chris. I don't think that he should deny, how people feel, for instance, about the cost of living, how they feel about the economy. But really, he should put the choice forward to them, which is, do you trust me, someone who's fighting for you and your family, or do you trust him, Donald Trump, who has largely been fighting for himself and who's relitigating the past, who's consumed by his grievances and maybe even an enemies list? I think those are the types of contrasts he should try to paint.
Okay, so if he goes macro, the follow is almost certainly micro, right? People had more money in their pockets. The grocery store and the gas pump were more friendly to them than they are today. And those are the main indices. Those are the main metrics. So Biden, you've failed. Response?
Well, I think that it depends on the starting point, right? I mean, we were in the depths of the pandemic when Donald Trump left. And I think that if Joe Biden reminds people of how we made terrible decisions, Donald Trump made terrible decisions at the start of the pandemic that plunged the economy even further into the abyss, I think that would be another contrast to paint.
Other domestic issue he's certainly going to hear tonight. inaction at the southern border, which is a reflection of the left pushing him for an open border policy. Response.
The president has to say, I'm not for open borders. The border is broken. The immigration system is broken. I think he has to point out that he worked with conservative Republicans in the Senate to come up with compromise legislation, which you and I have talked about before, but which unfortunately Donald Trump blocked in order to avoid providing Joe Biden with, quote unquote, a win. And I think pointing that out, recognizing the problem, and again, saying what he wants to do about it is very important.
Foreign, I think it's going to be atmospheric, right? Trump, when he has the opportunity, is going to say, hey, on my watch, we didn't have any of this drama. Now, with Biden, you got Russia and Ukraine, you've got the Middle East blowing up, you've got Iran doing whatever it wants. Not on my watch. Response.
I think, unfortunately, under Donald Trump's watch, we were hurting our alliances. We were eroding the power of NATO. We were cozying up to dictators like Putin. And I think that now we stand much stronger relative to Putin, relative to other dictators, including, people like Kim Jong-un, whom Donald Trump tried to cozy up to. I think the contrast is plain, which is right now we're standing up to the dictators and partnering with our allies. And under Donald Trump, it was the opposite.
That's going to be a tough finesse move. And really, that's what it is. It's really about how you answer the question in the moment as a factor of how you address what was said and how you deal with what is said about you by the person next to you. There's a good help tonight with the silencing of the mics. I don't dig that rule, but it's not my debate, so we'll see how it plays out. Congressman, thank you very much for your candor, as always. You're always welcome here to make the case for your party and your constituency. Enjoy the night.
See you too, Chris. Thank you.
All right, so how about a veteran perspective of people who absolutely could probably predict 95% of the answers we're going to hear tonight? You don't see them together very often, but it's a treat for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Bill O'Reilly is here with Geraldo Rivera together to give a balanced perspective. Gentlemen, thank you very much. You both look beautiful. Bill O'Reilly, if you had to guess, what will make the moment tonight?
Well, first of all, you guys had to pay me a lot of money to come on with Rivera, and I appreciate that. I had it wired into my Swiss bank account.
You should imagine what we had to pay him. He's chained to that chair right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bill.
So the debate is not going to illuminate anything that anybody who follows politics or the news knows. It'll be the same old thing. I think there should be a rule, a new rule, that anybody who says democracy's on the ballot should be fined $5,000, and anybody who says we're not going to have a country anymore should be fined $5,000, because that's what you're going to hear over and over and over again. What the importance of this debate is, and it's the second most important presidential or political debate in history.
What was the first?
Tonight. Most people have no idea about that. Lincoln Douglas in 1858, where Lincoln came out and said, the United States has to be a free country, no more slavery. And that catapulted him into the presidency 2 years later, even though he lost the senatorial race to Stephen Douglas. But anyway, this is the second most important debate, because not of Biden and Trump, about the systems they represent. If Biden is reelected in November, this country goes heavy progressive quasi-socialism. Biden's already on the record as saying he wants to raise the corporate tax, income tax, from 21 to 28%. Well, who the deuce do you think is going to pay for that? The American consumer. 50% of Americans don't have $500 in the bank right this moment. So Biden's going to raise the income tax level on companies and corporations, and he'll pass it right along to the consumer. He's openly proud of that fair share nonsense. So people need to step back and see what's on the ballot here. It's not about Biden doddering through this thing, and I don't know how he's going to do. And it's not about Trump saying nutty things about the 2020 election. It's about how they both will govern if elected.
Geraldo, take it any way you want, but I do think it is a little bit about Biden because Trump has made it that. Now his people are flying in reverse as fast as they can, and I'm sure when we hear them tonight, they're not going to say that Biden is in decline. They're going to say that everything is rigged against Trump. But they have made it about how Biden performs tonight, and I think that that is going to be a major takeaway for the audience one way or the other. What's yours?
Oh, me too. I think that Biden's demeanor, I think that Trump's as well. I remember, I just flashed back to watching with my mom and dad after we moved to West Babylon, Long Island, watching the presidential debate, Nixon versus JFK. And we were a Republican family in town of Babylon. So we expected Vice President Nixon to wipe the floor with this rookie that we'd hardly heard of from Massachusetts. And instead, what we saw was, a very elegant, very credible, very believable, very suave guy against someone who seemed very awkward, sweating. I don't think that we could see sweat on my old TV set, but and I don't want to replace my contemporary memories with what I was feeling then. But it was clear that there was one cool guy and one not cool guy. So I think that this, even though that's superficial, and even though I don't remember the substance of their remarks or their positions on the issues, I remember viscerally switching my allegiance from Vice President Nixon to Senator Kennedy. So it is a big deal. They say that it's substance, not style. But it is. I think that both are very competent. Both have had, I believe, underrated presidencies. And if they could sell themselves in a fair manner, I think the American people have a pretty good choice, despite the fact that they are so old. But the fact of the matter is, they are so old. I know, and I don't know about O'Reilly, but I know that from the age of 78 until the age of 81, that I have had significant decline in various areas. It is, life takes a toll.
Yeah, but let me tell you something,
I want to see how
if
these
Biden
guys
and
hold
Trump
up.
were in the same level of acuity and consistency as you and O'Reilly, we'd be having a very different campaign than we're having right now. So I think age and stage is part of it, Bill. But I also think that
Can I jump in, please?
Yeah, but Bill, you got to give a little bit of a nod to the beauty contest and how people feel about the men that they see up there, who inspires confidence, who makes them feel like, all right, this guy is on it, he'll keep us safe. I still think that matters, not just some idea of what policies are on the ballot.
Okay, couple of things. Is it possible the News Nation can mute Geraldo's mic like you're going to do in the CNN debate? Is that possible? Can we get that done?
No.
Number two, I've known Rivera, 35 years? He was in cognitive decline about 25 years ago. Yeah, when the Nazi hit him with the chair on his show. Okay? As soon as the Nazi hit him with the chair, Rivera was like, where am I?
He grazed him. He looked like Bush when they threw the shoe at him in Iraq. He was like,
everybody's got to Google Nazi hitting Rivera with a chair. Just Google that. It's worth it. Okay.
Google, you'll see
and
who
I did not
landed
pay
the
that
blows.
Nazi. Right. I had nothing to do with that. Okay. So people believe what they want to believe. Joe Biden could get up there tonight and collapse 3 times. And I want to correct the record. He is not going to have an IV during the debate. I know that's out there on the right-wing websites, but he's not. No IV.
You guys are setting too low a bar, Bill. You're setting too low a bar. Okay. You're going to regret it.
So, no, I don't regret anything. I hope he does well.
No,
I want Americans to see Joe Biden.
No, you
yes,
don't.
I do. I don't have any malice toward Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I have no malice toward him. Yeah, he's the second worst president in U.S. history. I proved it in my upcoming book, Confronting the Presidents. I don't love him. I don't hate him. I don't care one way or the other personally. People believe what they want to believe, Cuomo, and you are the poster boy for that, okay? So no matter what happens, you know that after the debate, when Rivera and I, if we can keep Rivera up that late, when we come back, it's going to be, oh, no, my guy won. Oh, no, my guy won. What Trump has to do, very simply, I'm a simple man, is not be mean. He needs women voters.
Yeah.
The MAGA people will vote for Trump no matter what. Trump could tase Biden, and the MAGA people would vote for him.
It's true. He's got to turn down
Biden.
He's got to turn down the O'Reilly and turn up the Geraldo. Because if he comes across like you do, nobody's going to like him.
There you go.
Geraldo,
Absolutely.
what's your last word? And then we'll take it till after the debate.
My last word is that Trump's got to keep it contained. He's not going to be the shining city on the hill, but he's got to keep it contained. He's got to keep himself contained. Biden's got to be vibrant. He's got to have verve. He's got to have, a charisma. You can't sell charisma. Trump is more of a stage presence. He's a movie star, as I've mentioned before. But Biden is very easy to underestimate. And you just remember the Paul Ryan debate when he, in Vice President 2012, Biden cleaned the floor with Ryan, and Ryan was the young, the wonderkin. And Biden made him look silly. So I think that Biden's got to be true to himself. He's got to stay awake. He's got to be, vibrant and vital. And on the other hand, Trump's got to be Trump. He can do it. He can do the one-liner. I'm a little concerned about his lack of prep. I don't know what that is about. But he's going to come out swinging. Yeah. I think Biden's got to hit him with, with January 6th. And what he did in trying to subvert the Constitution, and Trump's got to hit him with immigration and how he's wrecked the southern border.
It'll come up.
And I think that's the script.
All right, fellas.
One more real quick.
Yes, sir.
Rivera and I will chip in and buy you a tie, Cuomo, if you promise to wear it.
I'll tell you
okay?
what, as long as you put it on me, because I want to get you close enough to me to snatch up your old dusty self and crack you in half. How about that as a deal?
Okay, you can threaten me all day long.
You.
But
no, I don't beat up old men. I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
No, okay, fine.
I'm teasing.
Right. I want the audience to look at the sartorial splendor of Rivera and O'Reilly, and then look at you, who looks like a maintenance man in Penn Station. Okay? That's all I want to say.
I'm the closest to a maintenance man you've talked to in 30 years. You fancy pants.
Please.
Shut your mouth. All right, gentlemen, I'll see you after the debate. Bill O'Reilly, Geraldo Rivera, as always, a pleasure. And by that, I mean with one of them. All right, they'll be back after the debate. Very important for understanding how this comes out, but also an interesting study in contrast, right? What will you see mimicked between Geraldo and O'Reilly on the stage? Nasty little digs? Or will Trump be able to turn that down? And can Biden turn up the optimism for this country? Could be a very big deal. Now, let's continue with our perspective from both sides. You have Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, but just as important, really more for the purposes of analysis, co-chair of the RNC, the Republican National Committee, Lara Trump, right after this.
A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me.
Vote now.
You're gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to
a
answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the question
you want to put a
is
lot of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
your,
man?
listen, who
Now, it won't likely be like that tonight because they have that muted mic thing, which I'm not a fan of. But that was the state of play in 2020 between Biden and Trump. You know, it's interesting. My boss was saying to me right before the show, you know, they haven't really spoken to each other at all since they were last on the debate stage together. That's an interesting aspect of how they'll deal with each other tonight. For some insight, our next guest is perfect. Not just the daughter-in-law of the former president, but the co-chair of the Republican National Committee. All right? Lara Trump joins us now from the venue in Atlanta. Thank you for making time. Good to see you.
Thank you, Chris. Great to be with you.
First, just a small thing, but on a tactical side, how big a deal is the muted mic? I know that obviously your father-in-law agreed to it, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that this is an attempt to prevent Donald Trump from doing what he does best, which is those quick little one-liners. You know, everybody remembers the 2016 debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, where she said, it's a good thing you're not in charge of the law in the country. And Donald Trump said, because you'd be in jail. That was, I mean, that brought the House down. Probably, Chris, in the same way, they don't want to have an audience there because they know that there would be massive applause and a lot of, noises and things that might be distracting to one of the people on the stage. I don't believe it would be for Donald Trump. And you were just talking about the fact that your producer mentioned this is the first time these two would be together since probably the last debate. The last time they spoke
not
was
my producer,
the last
my
debate
boss,
they had.
Laura. Don't get me in
your
trouble.
boss. Oh, excuse me, your boss. Yeah, let's get it straight. This is also, Chris, the first time they've come face to face since Joe Biden's Department of Justice was weaponized to give Donald Trump these 34 ridiculous felony counts. So it's going to be an interesting evening. I think the way it's set up obviously is designed to help Joe Biden. And Donald Trump knew that going in. Look, he wants to be out there for the American people to see. He wants to get on a stage with Joe Biden and talk about what he did as president and what Joe Biden has done as president. And I think at the end of it, people are going to come away remembering how much better off their life was when Donald Trump was in that White House. And I, for one, am very excited to see it.
Will your father-in-law shake the president's hand?
I assume so. I don't see why not.
What do you mean, why not? You just said why not. I mean, if it were me and you thought that I had brought down 34 felony counts on you, I'm sure you wouldn't hug me when you saw me. Let me ask you about something else, though. Let that go.
Chris, I haven't talked about it with him, but I can tell you, look, he's a fighter, but he's also, he's not going to do something just to be nasty about it. And I know that's the reputation that oftentimes gets labeled on Donald Trump.
That's a good segue.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. I haven't even asked him about that.
That's a good segue. O'Reilly was talking about that Donald Trump needs to not be mean. What do you think that means? And do you think that's something that is present in your father-in-law's head going into this?
Well, look, you saw Donald Trump the day after that verdict in that, of course, the clown show trial, Alvin Bragg's trial in downtown Manhattan. You saw him come out and do that press conference, and he was very calm and he was very collected and direct with his words to the American people. And I think he, of course, has the ability to do that. He's a very smart guy. He's a showman. Don't forget that he was on TV and on all of our TV screens for years on The Apprentice. So he gets how to operate, and he's able to adjust at times and do things differently. And I think you're going to see that he really wants to get his message loud and clear out to the American people tonight. And so I think he will be tough. And that's what we need. We need a fighter. And there's no doubt about it. Whenever you think about Donald Trump and you remember back to when he was in the White House, it was peace through strength. People didn't even try anything, our adversaries around the world, because they knew Donald Trump meant business. I think it's what we need more of, quite frankly, Chris, not less of these days. And so, yes, he will be tough, but he will be measured and he'll be concise and he'll be direct. And I think that the American people are going to come away from this really happy with the performance that Donald Trump gives tonight.
A couple more things, and then I'll let you go because I know you got a ton to do before this, family and functional in terms of what you're doing with the party. The finesse issue for Biden is to explain the economy because the facts versus feel isn't there. I think that issue for the former president is going to be reproductive rights, not as simple as from Roe to Dobbs, but